Hello, I'm Chris Phillipson. I'm Director with Verizon Global Security Services.
And hi, this is Ashish from Verizon. I'm the Managing Principal in Asia Pacific for Cybersecurity Consulting Services.
And we're actually focusing our session today and this webcast really on risk modeling and how to be able to use risk data. One of the main challenges we're seeing with organizations nowadays is that there's so many sources out there of risk data, and it's difficult to be able to figure out which one pertains to your organization, to be able to leverage that information in an appropriate way and to be able to operationalize that into your organization. One of the things that Verizon has been doing consistently over the last 11 years or so is publish our Data Breach Investigations Report, or DBIR as we like to call it. The Data Breach Investigation Report, along with some of the accompanying publications such as our Data Breach Digest and our Payment Card Security Report, they leverage a lot of data from various contributions globally, which include law enforcement, private contributions, Verizon Incident Response, as well as other security companies. And what they do is they go and take various incidents, whether they're internal, external, whether they're privately published or published as part of a larger data breach, and they go and record them in the VERIS classification, which is our vocabulary for event recording and incident sharing, which really helps you provide a consistent method for recording those incidents to really figure out what happened, who was the actor, what asset was targeted, what type of actions happened, etc. And it really provides the organizations a lot of data that allows them to make the right decisions when it comes to defining what's going on in their neck of the woods, in their cyber threat landscape, and what they need to look out for going forward. And the way that we actually are able to leverage the VERIS framework is in a multitude of ways, right? So the VERIS framework really it's the framework. It's not the data itself. We have got two elements. So we have our VERIS framework, which describes what the incident is, what happens. It allows you to anonymize it, provides a lot of attributes or little attributes, but it really provides a good global view, regional view, an industry view, as well as an incident and breach view. So you can really dig down and figure out what's going on in your specific geography, what's going on in your industry, and what some of the trends are that are going on and that are affecting you potentially. While it's good to have that data, it's important to be able to figure out the right way of operationalizing this. And the way we really try and look at that is both through a technical as well as through a strategic lens, right? So from a technical perspective, it allows us to visualize your security incidents, help drive what use cases and content may need to be developed based on some gaps that you're maybe not covering or some emerging threats that you need to focus on. It helps you prioritize what vulnerabilities need to be remediated based on knowing what type of vulnerabilities are being leveraged and exploited by the threat actors out there. And then from a strategic perspective, it's really driving those incident and breach tabletop exercises, being prepared, right? The day that your organization gets breached or gets faced with a major incident is not the day that you want to figure out how your processes work. You need to do that well in advance of time. And if you know what's coming down the pipeline, what kind of potential threats are happening, and what may affect you, it helps you better prepare. It also helps you identify your security initiatives and be able to use that risk-based data that we have within our DBIR corpus, so that's publicly available, to help drive the effectiveness of security controls, measure how effective they are and how effective they need to be, and just figure out a way for your organization to best prioritize the security spending. And then the VERIS framework really helps you better record and classify various security incidents and breaches, as I was already pointing out earlier. But really, when you look at how to operationalize the data and be able to make use of that within your organization, it's really a maturity process, right? So you can start by recording your security incidents, by looking at what's going on in the industry, all the way taking that to driving your use case development, driving your security spending requirements, and looking at what really makes sense for you as an organization. So as you're going through this, what we really recommend as an organization is that you start by doing the basics, right? So looking at how to overlay the various taxonomy with your security incidents, leverage the data that we have in our data breach investigations report so you can benchmark and see if other peers in your industry are seeing the same type of activity. And then, finally, what's really important is to be prepared, right? So to be able to leverage our data breach digest and some of the other reports to drive those various tabletop exercises and improve your overall security response capability.
So one of the things which we have been doing since we have been publishing data breach investigation report is to find out the commonalities that exist in terms of the incidents and breach data set that we observe. Since 2014, a series of 9 patterns is something that we came up with to categorize security incidents and data breaches that share similar characteristics, right? This was actually done in an effort to communicate that majority of the incidents, breaches, even targeted or sophisticated attacks generally share enough commonalities to categorize them and to really study how often each pattern is found in a particular industry data set. We believe that one of the best uses of the DBIR is to look at the data from the perspective of specific industries. And also, the key message is for the enterprises and cybersecurity warriors to leverage these patterns in line with respective industry segment to prioritize and align their cybersecurity investments to address the risk from the most critical ones first in a very cost-effective manner. So end of the day, every company has limited time, effort, and money to spend. And I think the key message here is within these 9 incident classification patterns, we try to demystify and remove the fear, uncertainty, and doubt for organizations to really focus on what is most critical to them and what matters the most. Now, something that we actually started doing with the Data Breach Digest, which is a kind of companion to Data Breach Investigation Report. Let me just kind of demystify a little bit on that taxonomy that we use, right? So whereas, like Chris mentioned, it serves as a common contextual database answering the who, what, why, how for the previously collected cybersecurity incident and data breach content. It's a framework, but it provides a common language for describing security incidents in a structured and repeatable manner. DBIR is our annual publication. Obviously, it's full of statistics, metrics, and insights into the breaches and incidents. GBD, very interestingly, actually complements and supplements the DBIR by bringing the data breaches to life through narratives that are told by breach responders. It's light on metrics, but heavy on experiences. Something that we started doing with the launch of Data Breach Digest for the last few years is Attack Defend Card. Now, this Attack Defend Card actually really helps the cybersecurity professionals to understand the breach scenario in terms of the sophistication level, the asset attributes, in terms of the incident pattern from a perspective of time to discover and time to contain, in terms of threat actor, in terms of the motives and tactics, techniques, and procedures, and very importantly, the targeted victim profile. So every scenario that we study, that most of our practitioners really try to solve, is understand these 4 perspectives: the breach scenario, the incident pattern, the threat actor, and the targeted victim, through which they can really improvise their defense techniques and countermeasures to better protect themselves and better defend themselves. Now, we all know, right, a shortage of complex attacks, and especially when we look at, it's very important for every cybersecurity professional and senior executives of an organization to understand that today they are not up against script kiddies or people coming with fun ideology or grudge kind of motives, right? About 50% of the threat actors are organized criminal groups, and 12% are state-sponsored or affiliated syndicates, right? Which leaves no doubt in terms of their capabilities, resources, and funding. And with more and more proliferation of dark web and cryptocurrencies, the barrier to entry for a cyber criminal is getting lower by the day. While organizations can look at implementing complex and varied solution set, I think the message is to keep it simple. It is very important that organizations understand the importance of risk assessment, which is the fundamental block in solving the cybersecurity issues, and more importantly, the measurement of their security controls or framework maturity. You need to really know where you are to decide which way you want to go and how you want to be there, right? In the days of, in current situation of advanced zero-day threats and a lot of unknown unknowns, while preventive controls are becoming basic hygiene, the actual cyber attack battles are being won and lost on the basis of detection and response frontiers, right? Hence, the visibility and optics, both outside in and inside out, become very, very important. And organizations must try to move from looking for indicators of compromises to start looking for indicators of attack. Change the game, right? More importantly, they should really try to drive security at the core by ensuring data-centric security, not data-center security.
And as Ashish was alluding to, the data is really at the core, right? The battles that we fight every day, the more data we have, the more information we have on what our attackers are doing, who's attacking us, what we're seeing in the industry. That really helps us drive some of our security decisions. And a good way to start is to actually read the Data Breach Investigation Report in the DBD. Links are up here as well. And familiarize yourself with Verus. Learn how Verus works and how you can apply it in your organization. It's a fairly simple framework. You can apply it quite quickly in your organization, and you can look at some consistencies and see what's going on in the industry compared to what's going on in your environment. What's also very helpful is obviously to be able to do those data breach digest scenarios, right? Use those battle cards, those attack defense cards to really identify what do I need to do as an organization to prepare myself for a certain type of attack, and what's the most prevalent attack. And then obviously be able to validate that improvement over time, right? So within 6 months, hopefully your organization is able to drive some efficiencies as part of security detection and response. And at the same time, we're an open framework at Verizon. We publish DBIR from multiple contributors. So if you're interested in being a contributor or learning more about that, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you for your time.